Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Rachel here with an October empties video for you guys today. A little bit late, I apologize. For those who don't know, I do have two little kids in grade school, and we have reached the point in the season where my kids just basically take turns getting sick until the end of time. And, got a little bit delayed here this week, and unfortunately that's probably going to be the case for me for the next several months, where I'm kind of dealing with these unexpected delays due to illness or whatever else comes along. But bear with me, hang in there. Thank you for your patience. I do want to get this October empties video done for you guys though, because I do need to get these cleared out. I finished 8 jars, it looks like, here this month, and I would have liked to have gotten through a little bit more. My loose goal for myself is about 6 candles. So like I want to fill an entire candle crate with empties every month. So I like to do more than that, but it doesn't always happen. Sometimes I fall short. So for 8 candles, I'll take that as a win. And I have a few good ones here and a few that are basically just candles I was trying to get gone because they were taking up space. They weren't very good and needed to get them over with. So got a little bit of a mixed bag. I think I've got, let's see, maybe 4 different brands here, but we'll kind of go through them one by one, each by brand. I'll have it all time stamped for you in the description of this video. And without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we're going to start with an oldie here, and I'm going to tell you what, guys, a lot of these spent some time in my candle crock. There was a lot of problem children in this batch of candles. So this one here in particular, this is Hey Boo, which I think is a Huntington home brand from Aldi's. There's no scent notes on this. It's got this disastrous wraparound label, like just very sort of sloppy. And at the time, years ago when I got this, and I want to say this was like 2019 maybe, I don't know, this is really old. When I got this, these were like really hard to come by. They were flying off the shelves. So I mean, I was happy to get my hands on this one, but it was very disappointing. And that's not to say that Huntington Home, like their candles aren't good. I've actually had some decent candles from Huntington Home, and for the price, if you're on a budget, I mean, for like, was it like $5 maybe now a candle? Like some of them are really decent. This just unfortunately wasn't one of them. There's no notes here. This was like a sort of, I think it was like a pumpkin roll sort of scent, because it smelled like a sort of warm spiced pumpkin bread mixed with a little bit of a cream cheese frosting sort of note. And I had 2 problems with it. One was that cream cheese note got really like a sour tang to it that I really didn't like. And the pumpkin spice in this, something about it made it smell sort of scorchy and toasty and just kind of burnt. And when you take that and mix it with that sort of sourness, this I just didn't like. It burned okay. It wasn't the best. It sort of got a little bit smoldery here to the halfway point, which I don't think was doing the scent any favors. So I don't know why, like for how cheap this was, I couldn't just bring myself to just throw it away, especially for how long it's been taking up space here. But I suffered through it in the candle crock for a few days, and it just, it was kind of background in the candle crock, which I wasn't mad about. Like I didn't want this to be strong, but I got through it. And again, I haven't really bought any from Aldi in the last few years, so I don't know if they've changed their quality at all lately, but unless I see something in the store that really catches me, I probably won't buy too many from them. But again, if you're on a budget, it's not a bad option, and they do offer different things seasonally, so definitely check out your stores if you're in there. But that was Hey Boo. And then another sort of, I guess, sort of a bargain budget brand or budget friendly brand. This was from Sonoma at Kohls, or I should say Kohls brand Sonoma. This is Cozy at Home. This, it burned okay. It had some issues. The notes were toasted marshmallow, caramel drizzle, and cedar wood. I used to buy a ton of Sonoma candles. I have a bunch more that I still have to get through. And I think it was like around this time of year, I think usually on like Black Friday, they would have some massive sale on their candles, and I would get a bunch. My in-laws used to give me them for Christmas a lot. And I've had some really good ones from Sonoma, but I've had some duds. This, it didn't burn the best, but the scent was excellent. This scent is so cozy. They say cozy at home. That's definitely what this was. This was cozy. And it was kind of reminiscent of like Kringle's Warm and Toasty, and those sort of like marshmallow toasty scents out there. Like there's a dime a dozen of those marshmallow toasty scents, but this one, it was like, it doesn't have amber in it, which a lot of them do. So it didn't take on that perfumey tone. And it just had like the nicest smoldering sort of cedarwood note here that I just loved. And it burned, it burned well at first. And then the thing with this one, and I've been working on this one for years, because what was happening is it would light and it would pool, but the wicks would just sort of smolder. And the pool wouldn't get deep, and it would just be like, it would be going for hours, and you really wouldn't burn off much at all. So I would feel like I'd be working on this one every winter. Like, surely this is going to be the year that I finish this candle. And it wasn't budging. So I burned as much as I could. And when I got to this point, I ended up sticking it in the candle crock and got a few more days out of it that way. But really nice scent if you like those sort of woodsy, toasty scents. A little bit of the marshmallow, and the caramel wasn't like cloyingly overly sweet, which I appreciate. It really was nice with that cedarwood note. So I don't know if this scent has ever been back or if it's been repackaged. I know they repackage sometimes, but I would buy this again. Burnishes aside, like, it was a great scent. So that was Cozy at Home from Sonoma. And then I've got one more sort of outlier here. This is Yankee Candle's Lucious Pumpkin Trifle. And as you can see, not very much of this was burned. I don't have the notes written down in front of me here. A lot of you are probably familiar with this scent. It's sort of a very sweet frosting-y, like creamy pumpkin sort of scent. It's almost a little reminiscent of Bath & Body Works Pumpkin Cupcake, something like that, where it's not like heavily spiced. It's more sweet and creamy. Great scent. I've had this before and it's done well for me. This is, I think, my second or third jar of this, but this one had wick issues for sure. This just did not want to burn, and I've been working on this one again for a while, just like these other two, like, because the burn just wasn't taking off. I think I started this one again. I was up to probably just over the candle line here on Yankee Candle's label here. I was probably like up to right about here. And I tried a few times. I put it in the nice, like, tight Yankee Candle Hurricane. I put Illumilids on it. I gave it, like, all day. And it would literally take all day to get a full pool. And it wouldn't be very deep. It wouldn't be deep enough to give a decent throw. It was just kind of burning for light at that point. And not a great light because it was just sort of weak, flame-wise as well. But, I mean, great scent. So it's such a shame. So this one, after a couple days of that, I just said, you know what? I'm putting this in the candle crock. I need to get this out of here because this is going to be here for an eternity if I keep trying to burn it. And it just wasn't working. So I did put it in the candle crock, got a couple days of a nice sort of creamy pumpkin background scent, and it was fine. Not as great as I remember, but again, it's also kind of getting really old. And that's the problem I'm having is a lot of these like older paraffin Yankee candles. I have a ton in my collection. Haven't been great about burning them, and now I'm kind of at the point where most of them probably aren't going to perform that well, but I don't know, it's hard to get rid of them too. Like, I don't want to just throw them away. I don't want to, I don't even think you could sell them at this point, most of them. Good luck trying to sell them, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a shame because it's such a great scent, but I have been keeping my eyes out on some of their new stuff. I have my eye on a few of them, and I did almost order from their new like 3 wicks for the holidays from that Polar Express collection and some of the other ones. So I don't know. I almost ordered on that 3 wick sale. I probably should have, just to kind of give them a try, see some of their new stuff. I know they changed their wax formula, just to kind of see how it goes. I've just been hearing such mixed reviews that I'm not sure I want to kind of go down another candle company rabbit hole right now, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try to get a couple here and review them, but I don't know. It's such a shame. I really miss the old Yankee candle, and I think that's going to ultimately be my hang up with Yankee, is that I need to let go of the past and know that they're never going to be the same. I think it's kind of even harder now that Kringle is getting rid of their apothecary jars like this. Like, the sentimentality of it is really hard to get past sometimes for me. But yeah, whatever happened to Yankee Candle, I don't love their new labels. They just look kind of generic, and I don't know. But maybe I will give them a try. The Polar Express ones are kind of cute. but we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys posted if I do end up picking any up. But as for what's left here, I have 2 from Bath & Body Works and then 3 from Kringle, and we're done. All right, so I guess keeping with our theme of problem children here, this is fresh cinnamon rolls from Bath & Body Works. And this was kind of a cute label. The notes on fresh cinnamon rolls, gooey cinnamon roll, warm ground spice, and vanilla frosting. I know they just released this one again in this year's packaging, which was cute. Will I buy it again? The scent is good. I will give it that. The scent is good. I think some have said this is very close, or if not the same as, was it pumpkin cinnamon buns, which I did have pumpkin cinnamon buns. I felt like this was slightly different, but very, very similar. Maybe it's just time, playing tricks on me, but this one just burned awful, and it started out okay, and then it turned dirty. The wicks were okay. You can kind of see these are like really thick sort of wicks, but I don't know if you can kind of tell, like up here, very, very dirty. I ended up putting most of this in my candle crock. I'm at like this level of wax in the jar. That's about where I'm at. And I just couldn't burn it anymore because it was just so dirty. And on the bottom here, I don't know if you can kind of see it, but you can kind of see like all that black residue like around the edge here. It was gross, for lack of a better word. It was just kind of gross. The scent was fine, and when I put it in the candle crock, the scent sort of remained true. It didn't have that sort of dirty smell about it in the crock melting, but burning, I was getting it. So I don't know, like it's like a yeasty, doughy scent to me. A little bit sweet. It's not heavily spiced, but like a nice yeasty, bready, doughy, sweet scent. And I mean, it was really nice when it was good, and it was nice when it was melting in the crock, but I don't know. I feel like I have more trouble with sweeter gourmands and their burns versus some of the fresher Bath & Body Works scents that I get. Maybe it's just kind of dumb luck that way. I don't know if you guys have any sort of similar experiences where some of like the sweeter, more gourmand ones give you more trouble in terms of the burn than some of the fresher ones. By contrast here, another one that I finished emptied was, put this down before I drop it. This is Farmhouse Pumpkin and Spice. And this one got a little bit dirty. Not terrible. You can kind of see it up on top here of the wax. But like it didn't change the smell. It kept burning fine. It didn't overtake the candle, but this again being a little bit more fresh versus that being more sweet gourmand. I don't know if that's the difference, but for Farmhouse Pumpkin Spice, and I've talked about this one a few times on my channel now, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but heirloom pumpkin, patchouli, and fall spices, also known as, was it spiced pumpkin and patchouli, another like sort of repackage that they did. This was great. I burned this a lot the week of Halloween to finish it off, and a nice sort of like fresh pumpkin with a little bit of like that farmhouse type of spice, that rustic spice mixed with that patchouli for sure. You have to like patchouli to like this one, but it just had such a like nice like Halloween feeling about it with the patchouli note in there. And I'm not usually the biggest fan of patchouli, but I really liked this one. And I had said in another video that this is probably some of my favorite packaging of the year. And honestly, when this was burning, like this sort of like mountainside here, like the glow behind it was just priceless. So I'm really sad that I didn't buy another one. I almost got another one this weekend, and I should have when they had that sale. I held strong. I didn't order from the, what was it, 10.95 sale or something like that. I had the coupon too. I could have made it a nice deal. And I had a cart full, and I kind of played with it all weekend, but I didn't bite. I really want to try to get through some of these before I go crazy with them. But yeah, I mean, it burned okay. Not really any issues here, and I was able to burn most of this. I think it's kind of down to about this point, and then I think I don't even know if I ended up finishing this in the candle crock. I could probably put it in the candle crock and get another day out of this, but really great scent. So I mean, it's just very hit or miss for me with Bath and Body Works. But man, those dirty ones, they really put me off sometimes. So that's kind of where I said, let me just be very intentional with my purchases from Bath and Body Works. Make sure it's a scent that I really want to take a gamble on, and not just you know, trying a whole bunch of scents only to end up with all these like mixed bag results. So I don't know. That's just my feelings on Bath and Body Works. You guys know how I feel about that. It hasn't made me too many friends around here, but it is what it is. All right, so that's that. And then I've got 3 Kringles here. I think we'll start with the one I probably liked the least. That is Almond Butter Cookie in the Country Candle line, the now discontinued Country Candle line. And if you guys have noticed, they're disappearing from the website very slowly. I'm very upset because I had several in my cart over the weekend and I almost pulled the trigger because there was one in particular that I was really loving and then it disappeared. So if you see anything else that you like on the website, you know, don't hesitate because they are kind of like fading off into the sunset. But we did see a few more of the like Kringle transitions pop up on the website recently. So, you know, keep checking the website. But this one, whether it comes back or not, I will not be repurchasing. Almond Butter Cookie has notes here of almond, sweet, vanilla, pumpkin, maple, and amaretto. This was from June 2024. This was the first batch that came out when this came out that fall. And this was just probably one of my most disappointing Kringles for a few reasons. I had very high expectations for this one. I love an almond note. I've told you guys I really love almond notes. And because they had done almond really well in both It's Evil and Easter Brunch, those candles previously, I was like all over this one. I said, this is going to be great, right? I love almond. They've done almond really well before. I'm going to love this one. And so this is just not at all what I was expecting, like at all. It doesn't smell like a butter cookie to me. It smells very sort of, it's more in line with an oatmeal raisin cookie to me, honestly. Like you can see on the cookie here, like there's like these nutty pieces and everything. Like swap that out with like oatmeal and like it just smells like an oatmeal raisin cookie to me. It's not heavily cinnamon. There's just something about it that comes across as sour, and I think that's where my mind kind of translates it to raisin. Like I think it's the amaretto in it because there's amaretto in this one, and then in the Christmas eggnog and the limited edition country candle that they came out with last year, that one had an amaretto note, and that note, like I feel like it's the same oil because it smells the same to me, because I get that same sort of tang from the Christmas eggnog, which I also don't like, that I get in this one with that amaretto. And I don't know. It was very weak too. That was the other thing with this, and maybe it's for the best because I didn't love the scent, but very, very light on this one. I would say max 5, and that's being generous. That's in a hurricane. I would say probably more in a 3-4 for most of you if you're just burning this as is. But it was just, I don't know. It was a little bit dirty too. You can kind of see, and it's funny because usually the dirtier ones are a little bit stronger for me, but that wasn't the case here. And honestly, I burned this one so long just to try to get it done. I didn't even throw this one in the candle crock. I really don't get much of the notes here. It doesn't smell like almond to me. It just smells kind of, I don't know, like sour. I don't get pumpkin here really. You get a little vanilla and a little bit of sweetness. It doesn't really smell distinctly maple to me either. Not like a syrupy maple, but I don't know. I just didn't like it. One and done, and I passed over this one on the other sales that they've had recently because I knew it was kind of a challenge to get through this, but I'm glad it's done, and that's that. Another one that, this one I won't spend a lot of time on because I've talked about it so many times on my channel, apple cider donut. Now, I had the 4-wick version of this in my Empties pile last month for September, and I'll tell you what, guys, having burned the 4-wick now, I can't go back to the 2-wick. The 4-wick just gave me so much better performance here in my open space. It wasn't even that it made it phenomenally stronger. It just projected better. It filled my space better. It was more present and noticeable. This is not like a powerhouse scent to begin with. This is kind of like a medium intensity in my home. But for me, like the projection of the 4-wick just made the scent overall much more enjoyable. I was getting more of the nuances out of here from the scent itself. It's not a heavy bakery gourmand. It's more focused on that sort of apple cider quality and like this outer aspect of the donut versus getting like, there's no like yeasty note or cakey note, like a true donut note here, but I get that sort of like crispy outside shell of the donut. And like, I love it. It's a special scent for me because this is one of the first Kringle candles I purchased back years ago. And I feel like when this was in paraffin, it was a little bit stronger and a little bit more in line with what I was getting from the scent throw of the 4-wick. And maybe it's just that better projection, but yeah, this was fairly light for me. It picked up a little bit. I would say probably maybe maxed out at a 5-6 in a hurricane for me. So, you know, not a powerhouse, but definitely enjoyed the 4-wick more. So that's probably the last time I'll pick up a 2-wick of this, even though I've always loved it and it's one of my favorites. Yeah, the 4-wick just kind of blew this one out of the water. And then I've got one more here, and this one I really loved. I am talking about Chest of Chaos, one of my Halloween standouts this year from Kringle. This one I just loved, and I don't really know why. I have a full review of this here on my channel, which I will link in the description if you're curious. But the notes here are warm spice, amber, peach, vanilla, tonka bean, and amber. I mean, I don't necessarily love peach. I don't hate peach, but it's not something I gravitate to. I don't love amber necessarily, but this one from the very beginning, and guys, this is the original jar that Kringle sent me to review over the summer. And when I had those boxes there of all the candles in front of me, and I was just kind of going back and forth, smelling them, trying to gather my thoughts and my impressions, I was just constantly gravitating to this one for whatever reason. And, you know, it was just kind of one of those love at first sniff experiences where just there was something about it from the start on cold that I liked, and then I just enjoyed it all the way through. This one, it was absent from my what I'm burning for the week of Halloween video because it was burning behind me in that video and it was almost done, and I knew it wasn't going to make it very much longer because I was just enjoying it too much. But I loved this one. It's sort of, I hope this makes sense. It feels Halloween appropriate, but it's not Halloween specific. Like for me, I feel like it didn't feel out of place burning it in the summer. It didn't feel out of place burning it at Halloween time. And I can also see myself enjoying this scent again, like later in the winter after the holidays. It's just really nice. There's not really a woods note here, but there's something sort of mildly woodsy in the background with that little bit of spice with the peach. I don't know. It's just got a nice touch of sweetness to it. It's not overwhelmingly sweet. It's just really sort of cozy, which maybe is an odd descriptor for a Halloween scent, but like, I just really enjoyed this one. You can kind of go back and watch my review. I think this might still be available on sale. I'm not sure on the website, but just kind of an unexpected love. And I know several of you have come to me and said as well that you picked this one up and really unexpectedly enjoyed it more than you thought. So sometimes you can't rely on the notes. Sometimes I know notes can put you off, and it does to me too. Like there's so many candles here that I've discovered now from the country candle line lately that were candles that I overlooked for years, that I never bought for years, just because of the notes. They didn't really sound like something that would be enjoyable to me. And then when they had all those sales, I picked a bunch up, and now that I've been getting into them, I'm realizing I really missed out on so many scents just based on the notes that I ended up really loving. And I don't know, guys, it just, sometimes you just got to go for it, especially if it's on a good sale. If you're curious, just go for it. But I love this one. I repurchased it on the Halloween launch day. I also repurchased it again when it went to sale price and it was still hanging around. So I've got 2 more jars here that I'm going to try to give it a little break. I don't want to get fatigued on it because I've burned it a lot lately, but like maybe after the holidays, getting into like the end of February, March, I feel like I could kind of enjoy this almost as a transition scent where I still want something slightly cozy because it's still pretty cold here at the end of March, into March, but I don't know. It's just really nice and I really enjoyed it. And one thing I will say is that I felt like in my review, I had said it wasn't the strongest, and then that was back in July. And then when I lit this up again towards the end of September, it definitely had a little bit more power. So Guys, I know not everyone wants to hear it. I say it all the time, but if you feel like you're fresh pour Kringle, and you can look on the bottom here, right on under this barcode, this is where you find your pour date. Like this was poured June 12th, 2025. So find your pour date. If it's recent, within the last couple of months, and you feel like your candle's not very strong, just let it sit for a little while and see if it makes a difference. It's not always going to help, but it helps me more times than not, I feel like, especially with things that are doing okay, but you just want a little bit more. Like that was the case with this one. I could smell it, but I wanted a little bit more from it. And then when I revisited it this fall, it definitely gave me a little bit more. It burned really well. You can't really tell on these jars like if they're clean or not, but this was pretty clean. Just some slight average soot accumulation, but again, I was letting this go really long at the end because I was just enjoying it so much. So I don't know, but it's very rare for me. This is, I think, only the second Halloween candle from Kringle that I have ever finished. The first one was Graveyard Night, and that took me years. So for me to finish a Halloween candle in the same year that it was that it came out is kind of a big deal for me. Says a lot about this one. So I don't know. I just really love Chest of Chaos. And that's about it for the month of October. So not the best month, not the worst. Some highlights, some lowlights, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And honestly, even the lowlights, I'm really just feeling relieved to finally be getting them cleared out, because I have such a bad habit of that. I don't know if any of you can relate, just kind of like letting things sit for way too long, well past the point that they're giving you any sort of joy, but you don't feel like you can get rid of it. I'm trying to be better about that going forward. So I don't know, hopefully next month I will have a little bit more in there. I'm off to a decent start. I already have one in my November empties pile, but yeah, I've got some good stuff coming up. I've got some good stuff that I'm working on right now. I've got one of the new holiday ones burning behind me. This is Kringle's Cinnamon Apple Wreath, and just kind of getting into that one a little bit. And I have some other good ones that I've been enjoying here as well in my November pile, which I don't know if I'll be able to film a November rotation video. I'm going to try if I have the time, just depending on the health situation in my house. My daughter was down, and now I'm just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop with my son and when that will hit. And I'm really hoping I don't get it, because my daughter lost her voice, and that would be really unfortunate. I don't know what it was last year. Everything they brought home, I lost my voice. I got sick with everything and lost my voice, which made it really hard to record. So I'm hoping that's not the case again this year. So hang in there with me, you guys. But that's what I wrapped up for October. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel for future content. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.